Lakers Nation, what is going on? So in today's video we got a very interesting Lakers trade proposal that would bring a familiar face back to Los Angeles. According to a proposed three-team trade involving the Lakers, the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers would bring back former Laker Malik Monk while also adding Melton. And honestly, Lakers fans, I think this is a trade that is definitely worth talking about because Monk is exactly the type of player who could give this Lakers team another offensive weapon. So let's break down the trade and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on whether I would actually make this move. The proposal has the Lakers receiving Malik Monk and Melton. The Kings would receive Dalton Knecht and Will Richard along with 2 second-round picks from the Lakers. And the Warriors would receive Jared Vanderbilt, Bronny James and another Lakers second-round pick. Now before we even get into whether this trade makes sense, I want to point out where this idea came from. This was a proposed trade discussed by Yahoo Sports and Heavy.com. So this is not a report saying the Lakers are actively trying to make this exact deal. It is a hypothetical trade proposal. But I think Malik Monk is an interesting name for Lakers fans because we already know what he can bring to the floor. Monk spent the 2021-22 season with the Lakers and that season really changed the way a lot of Lakers fans viewed him. He gave the Lakers scoring athleticism, energy and most importantly somebody who could create offense without needing everything to go through LeBron James. And now imagine putting that type of player next to Luka Doncic. That is where this gets interesting for me. The Lakers already have Luka as their offensive engine. They have Austin Reeves who can create shots and make plays. But you still need guys who can attack the defense when Luka is not controlling the possession. That is one of the biggest reasons I understand the Monk idea. Monk can come off the bench and immediately give you offense. He can push the pace. He can attack the basket. He can knock down shots. And he can create his own shot when the offense gets stuck. That type of scoring can be extremely valuable during the regular season when you are trying to survive the minutes when your best players are sitting. And I actually think Monk coming off the bench could be the perfect role for him. You do not necessarily need him to be a starter. You need him to be that guy who checks into the game and changes the energy. If Luka goes to the bench, you could potentially have another guard who is capable of creating offense instead of asking Austin Reeves to carry everything. And that is something I really like about this proposal. But now we have to talk about the price. Because this is where I start having some questions. The Lakers would be giving up Dalton Knecht. And personally I would have a difficult time giving up on Knecht unless the Lakers are convinced they are getting a major upgrade. Knecht is still young and there is still a lot of potential there. You also have Will Richard involved in the proposal and the Lakers would be giving up Jared Vanderbilt and Bronny James as part of the deal. So this is not simply trading a couple of players who are not important to the roster. There are real pieces being moved around here. And the Lakers would also be taking on Monk's contract. The proposal has Monk making around $20 million in the 2026-27 season with a player option for the following season. So you have to ask yourself, is Malik Monk worth the money and the players you are giving up? For me, I think the answer depends on how the Lakers view their current roster. If the Lakers believe they need another explosive scorer next to Luka, then I can understand making the move. But if the front office believes their bigger weakness is defense size or frontcourt depth, then I would probably look somewhere else. Because Monk is going to give you offense. That is what you are trading for. You cannot make this move expecting him to suddenly become your defensive stopper. And that brings me to Melton. I actually think Melton is a really interesting addition alongside Monk. Because if you are adding Monk for offense, then adding Melton gives you another player who can help on the defensive end. That combination makes more sense to me than simply bringing Monk back by himself. You would potentially have one guard giving you scoring and another guard giving you defensive ability and versatility. And when you have Luka Doncic running the offense, you need to surround him with players who complement what he does. You do not need every player to dominate the basketball. You need players who can fit around him. That is why I can see the logic behind this trade. But there is another major question. Would Monk actually get enough opportunities in Los Angeles? Because Luka is going to have the basketball a lot. Austin Reeves is going to have opportunities. The Lakers are going to have other players looking for shots. So Monk would have to accept being an important sixth man rather than expecting to become a star. And honestly, I think that could work. Monk has already shown that he can be productive without starting every game. His value could actually be maximized as a high-energy scoring option off the bench. Picture a second unit where Luka is resting and Monk is getting the opportunity to run some offense. That is the type of situation where I think this move could really help. Now personally, if I am the Lakers, I would not rush to make this exact trade. I like Malik Monk. I like the fit. I like the offensive potential. And I definitely understand why Yahoo Sports and Heavy.com put this proposal together. But I would want to make sure I am not giving up too much young talent just to bring back a player who is going to cost around $20 million. The Lakers have already made major moves around Luka. At this point, every trade needs to have a clear purpose. If you are giving up young players and future assets, then I want that player to solve one of your biggest problems. And I am not completely convinced Monk solves the biggest problem. He would definitely make the Lakers more dangerous offensively. But I would still prioritize two-way players and defensive size if those options are available. So my final opinion is this. I would be interested in bringing Malik Monk back to Los Angeles. I think he would fit extremely well next to Luka. I think his scoring would give the Lakers another weapon. And I think he could be one of the better sixth-man type players on this roster. But I would not give up Dalton Connect and multiple assets unless the Lakers are completely convinced that Monk and Melton make them significantly better. The fit is good. The offense would be exciting. The familiarity with Monk is a bonus. But the price is what would determine whether this becomes a great move or a move the Lakers eventually regret. And that is what makes this hypothetical trade so interesting. The Lakers do not necessarily need another superstar. They need the right pieces around Luka Doncic. And Malik Monk could potentially be one of those pieces. But whether he is worth giving up the package in this proposal is a completely different question. Let me know what you guys think. Would you bring Malik Monk back to the Lakers? Would you make this three-team trade? Or do you think the Lakers should keep Dalton Connect and look for a different type of player? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more Lakers news, rumors and trade ideas.